Hi, I'm Mark DeRosa, and welcome to Play Ball at Home. The New York Mets star on Saturday's show. Right now, let's catch up with a former Mets slugger. Let's bring in Curtis Granderson. All right, man, I'm having a chance right here to reach out and meet up with one of my WBC teammates. Curtis, the running joke is I've played with every guy in the big leagues, and I've actually shared a dugout with you as well for 6 weeks. So I want to hit you, man. Congratulations on an amazing career, 16 years in the show, but now retirement, no spring training. Take me through how, kind of your mind's working over these last few months.
It's been great, and the interaction you and I had during that WBC was awesome, getting a chance to represent the USA. That was always a goal and dream of mine, especially because playing for the Olympics wasn't necessarily as much of a reality, but to be part of Team USA and you and I out there doing our thing was a ton of fun, so greatly appreciate that. And then now in retirement, I'm missing spring training 1.0 and spring training 2.0. I am not complaining at all. This is going to be very interesting to see how this season unfolds. And I'm so happy to be sitting at home watching it as a fan for the first time.
You're one of the most well-rounded players that's been in the game in the last umpteen years. Without question, what you do away from the game impacts so many people. So can you tell me, I know you got your charity, the Grandkids Foundation. Can you kind of tell me what you're working on right now?
So right now, everything kind of shifts. I mean, we've all been in a crazy situation this 2020 season, and with everything happening with COVID, we shifted our Grand Giving initiative, which typically takes place in November around Thanksgiving. Everybody's in a giving mood. People haven't bought their Christmas presents yet. So we try to get people to come in and help those that may not be able to put food on the table at that time. And we shifted that focus to now because our frontline workers, all the people trying to take care of people, needed help and needed people to respond, and people were trying to find ways to do so. So we've been able to feed some of these frontline workers that have been working 12-hour shifts day in and day out, and first responders and everybody. So I've even got on Cameo recently, and for the first 2 months, we made about 25 grand. That's all gonna go towards COVID relief. So to all the shout outs that have come, the birthdays, the Mother's Days, the graduations, the Father's Day, thank you. Your support is definitely gonna go a long way.
Man, that is unbelievable what you do off the field. And this being a kid show, we're in an interesting time in our society right now. Everyone out there is kind of seeing what's going on in the news and out in the world. The Black Lives Matter movement, you were a part of just an unbelievable PSA with some of the Black Major League Baseball players. So if you were talking to the kids today on this episode, what is the lesson they can take from what's going on right now?
It's an interesting time. Nobody has ever been in it where we're talking this much. And that's the good thing. Everyone is trying to talk and get their points of views across, but we have to stop. And I think that's the biggest thing right here. And listen, there's a lot of people that you're going to listen to that you may never interacted with, may have never seen, maybe never seen their viewpoint. Look at the game of baseball. There's a lot of times when we bring kids on the field where they're seeing somebody for the first time they've never seen before, especially in my hometown of Chicago, one of the very most segregated cities in the US. So it's not uncommon for a white kid to not see a black kid, or a black kid not to see a brown kid or an Asian kid. But when we bring them on the field and they're having a good time and they realize, wow, you're not much different than me. We're having a good time. You throw and catch like I do and slide like I do. And now they're listening and hearing, oh, you're from this part of town. You're from that part of town. It starts to get people to understand everyone. So if you're a young kid out there today, take a pause for a moment and listen. You'll be surprised at some of the stuff that you'll hear.
Unbelievable answer. I would expect nothing else from you. You should be on the front lines, being the spokesman for a lot of the movement right here. I want to bring it back to baseball a little bit, because I always thought you played the game with such a childish exuberance, and you wrote under your hat. What'd you write under your hat, and why did you do that? To constantly remind yourself to have fun.
Don't think, have fun. And actually, hold on, I forgot the hat. Look at that. Speaking of, there we go. Don't think, have fun.
Curtis, I did exactly the opposite. No fun and think my whole way through 9 innings.
This game is already so hard and there's so much pressure on it. My college coach, Mike D, told me, goes, Curtis, you put the work in. You don't need to overthink it out there. Trust that you've already done everything you need to do and go out there and enjoy the game. Now, I always was having fun, but there would be times where I was like, okay, let me do this, let me do that. Did I do it right? Let me do this. That's what practice is for, the training, the lessons, all that stuff. But when we step on the field, it's gotta be fun and we have to enjoy it, and that's when we're always at our best.
Were you a guy in the box or behind the scenes that was a tinkerer? I mean, I don't think people really, truly realize, flip over the back of your card. There's 2 seasons where you were north of 40 homers. So you've done a lot of different things in this game that I don't think people realize. So I'm always enamored with the whole hitting side of baseball. It was something that I grinded with. Did you try and change styles based on maybe Comerica, Yankee Stadium, Citi Field, some different fields?
It even started before that. I mean, there was so much talk now and then about being a gap-to-gap hitter and not just being full side. So when I came up, it was all about taking advantage of the big part of the field, left center gap, right center gap. And it played very well for me in Comerica, a huge outfield. That's why we got all those triples. Now I get traded to Yankee Stadium, and I remember someone asked, where did the triples go? I said, the builder and constructor who built this Yankee Stadium took away my foul territory, took away right field. So now those balls that used to be triples have turned into home runs. So there were some modifications and some changes there. Kevin Long, one of my best friends and best coaches I've had in this game, just tried to make things simple and compact. Stay within ourselves, stay tight, and let the body work. And that's kind of where we've been at over the course of my career. And there's always been a few little things that you play with, because just like you mentioned, there was a 40 home run season, but I also led the league in strikeouts one year. So I had to make some improvements, and that's the way the don't think part came in. It's like, all right, there's things I need to work on. Let me keep working on that so I don't have to worry and focus on the strikeouts. I don't have to worry and focus on trying to hit home runs. We've practiced and have been putting in the work in. Let it take care of itself once we get on the field.
I love it. You talk about helping some kids right now in the cage, right? You talk about having fun, not thinking. Can we take a look, and can you help me take a look at some of these kids' swings, and we do a little Sandlot to the show right here and give some advice to the youngsters?
Let's do it. Let's break it down.
All right. All right, Curtis. First up, we have Alonso. He's a switch hitter right here, and let's take a look at him and maybe give him one nugget that he can use in the cage to kind of help him get moving.
I loved hitting in the cage, and for Alonso, I think you can take advantage. The key, though, is in the cage, we can't hit home runs. That's why I always liked it. So try to set your target at somewhere lower. That's a line drive that's going to be driven during the game, like hitting it back off the net where your coach is tossing the ball to you, and you'll get a chance to see those results translate once you step out on the field.
I mean, that's perfect. I think for me, Alonso, if you could do some one-arm tee drills, it just seems like you get real tight to your body when you're swinging. If you could understand that the left hand's your steering wheel from the right-hand side, and then this is your power, and just kind of free up your swing through the point of contact. I was a guy who loaded my hands down. I didn't feel good going back. For some reason, it was tight here. And Alonso's a guy who loads his hands down, and I'm cool with that. But make sure you get your hack out in front of you.
And especially since you're going to be a switch hitter, working on both hands on both sides of the plate, you're probably either right hand dominant or left hand dominant, and your body's still developing. So one hand drills, like DeRosa said, is definitely going to be big.
All right, next video, we got Braden right here looking like he's playing at a little mini Fenway or something going on right here. Don't slide or you're going to have some nasty strawberries on that field.
Just got home run so you don't have to worry about sliding.
I like his swing, Curtis. He does a lot of things really well. He stays through the baseball. Kind of like the high finish right there. So I'm gonna say just be careful. I'm always careful of when my son's a 10-year-old. I'm always careful when all these guys want to pull the baseball. Anybody can pull the baseball. I think you got to stay with the big part of the field to give you the most margin for error.
Absolutely. And one of the things he does a really good job that I like, Kevin Long taught this, the hitting coach for the Nationals, says everything starts from the ground up. And if you notice, he looks at his feet every time before he gets ready to hit to make sure he's in the right spot. It's really easy to start just swinging. Next thing you know, you're a foot away from the plate. But exactly to your point, make sure you're in the right spot and just turn the field around a little bit. You worked on the pull side, now maybe move the fence to the center part of the field, and all that is just shifting the plate. Let's work on hitting the ball straight away center field. See if you can hit home runs out that way. It's difficult, but it puts you in the best situation to be able to maximize the entire field.
Help me out real quick. You talk about hitting starts from the ground up. Was there certain things you thought of? Were you constantly looking at your feet? Were you worried about the weight on the inside of your back leg? Like, take me through just a little bit more there.
I just didn't want to go too far back. And whenever I made my move to the baseball, I wanted to be in a strong, balanced position. And one of the things, like you talked about, everybody starts in a different spot, but it's where we're at contact. So it doesn't matter who your favorite hitter is. If you want to look up Ichiro or Mike Trout or Aaron Judge, look at where they are at contact. And everybody is the same, balanced, strong, focused, and ready to attack the baseball. If you don't know if you're exactly there, make contact, stop. Whoever's coaching you, come up behind you, give you a little push. If you fall forward, that means you're not balanced and in a strong position to go. You should be able to hold that position literally for as long as you would like to, and that means you're balanced and ready to attack any ball that comes into your strike zone.
I love that. All right, next hitter up. Let's see if he's balanced and ready to attack. Dion's dad sent in a video right here of him hitting off the tee. I think for me, this is a perfect example. I love his swing, but if he looked down at his feet, he closes himself off, and then what happens? The first move is to potentially spin off the baseball. So he should be taking Curtis Granderson's advice right here.
And just slow down for a second. I know we want to swing and get a million swings in, especially when we get outside, because our time out there might be limited, but take your time, get your swing. Check your feet, get your swing. And this is great for all dads out there, whether you played the game or not played the game. The tee is the best way for you to get involved with your son or your daughter who's playing. It keeps you out of harm's way. They're not hitting the ball right back at you. You're not pitching. You're not hurting your shoulder. You just grab the ball, place it on the tee, make sure your hitter is in the right spot, and then obviously be there to correct them if you need to.
All right, man. Last hitter. We got 11-year-old Reed right here swinging from the left side in the garage. I can help Reed. All right. Before you throw your 2 cents in, I can help Reed, because when I would struggle, I would land with that front leg being like totally locked out. And Chipper Jones used to always say to me in BP, just to mess with my mind, he'd say, hit with a bent front leg at the point of contact. You cannot do it, but you can land softer. And when I look at Reed, he has got that front leg locked out to the point of he's just losing so much power and can't really turn around himself. So I would say to him, get a little bit more athletic in that front leg in your swing.
And just relax, breathe a little bit. Whenever we're trying to be strong, sometimes mentally we go at it strong, which is where that locked leg comes in. If we're nice, loose, and relaxed, and then go through it, the strength will come. It'll be ready to go. But if we're tense before we go, just imagine making a muscle and trying to throw a baseball. It just doesn't work. Go in there, nice and loose. Swing it, all those things. You ever see those baseball cards when the guy's elbow's way back here? Loose and relaxed, but it makes it come out nice and hard.
Oh, man. Curtis, thank you so much, man. As a 16-year veteran, killed it. 40-plus bombs multiple times. One of the nicest guys in the game. And then to stop by Play Ball and break down these kids' swings, man, I cannot thank you enough. It was so good catching up with you.
Thank you for having me. Always good to see you. And best of luck to all the kids out there and the parents that are just teaching them to be great players and just have fun out there.
Hey, thanks for joining us on Play Ball at Home. Tune in to MLB Network this Saturday morning to see Michael Conforto, Brandon Nimmo, and Jeff McNeil. Until then, keep playing ball.